Well, there is what we call a Bruno Guimaraes release clause threat from Newcastle. Remember, it's all about £100 million that any club that is willing obviously sign him should come up and obviously trigger it before the 24th of 2024 June. And guess what? We haven't gone ahead to see any huge movement when it comes to obviously do the needful of obviously keeping him or taking him out of Newcastle. Welcome to the Football News Show. How are you guys? I know you're watching us from I go by the names of Rokani David. Smash the like button, comment and share if at all you're watching us for the very first time. Endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Bayern have discussed the name of Ademola Lookman, therefore you're going to discuss that, and Miguel Almiron's future, who plays for Newcastle, is also going to be discussed right about now. We thank God for the gift of life. The Muslims, Barakallahu Fikum, and may the living to God bless you abundantly. And today is the 11th of June 2024, and this is the second video of the day. And we start it off with a story coming in through from Jordan Cronin. He has told us that he's a correspondent of Newcastle for the Newcastle World and Nation World group in there for you. He also does that Man City are unlikely to activate Bruno Guimaraes' £100 million release clause despite the midfielder featuring high onto their transfer wish list. Now, it's not only Man City that wanted this guy. There are 4 teams, PSG, Barcelona, Man City and Arsenal, that wanted to obviously sign Bruno Guimaraes. But what went ahead to put Arsenal out of this is also known. It's all about the money, and Arsenal is like, we are going to let the transfer or the release clause of this guy really run out or burn out. After it running out, then they will sit on the table to negotiate a deal with Newcastle, because they believe this guy is not worth £100 million, and that is really a huge amount of money for the side of Newcastle if at all they sell this guy. Because when you look at his transfer fee from France, you get from France, it was not all huge as it's in here for you, because they paid up to £40 million to obviously sign this player. And if you paid him for £40 million, when you sell him £100 million, you'd want to get £60 million as profit. But Arsenal is like, we are not gonna go onto that because that player is not English. If Bruno Guimaraes was an English player, I tell you, Arsenal would have gone ahead to pay that amount of money, because he serves as a homegrown player and he might be doing exactly what Declan Rice went ahead to do. That's why you saw to it that Arsenal, amidst the very many options that they had, they went in for Declan Rice, because he's an Englishman and they know what it means to be having English players that are of pure quality into your squad. So right now, Man City joins Arsenal onto the no list of triggering this clause, and it shows you that they've gone ahead to say so that Newcastle will sell. Newcastle will sell Bruno Guimaraes no matter what. And it happens to be to it that they need to obviously balance up their books, you know, and they need to get in money to see to it that they're going to get what we call a penalty for really violating the Premier League sustainability, for the Premier League profit and sustainability rules. You understand? That is a really huge factor that has going to obviously come when we do the needful, and I don't want to obviously put it outside there that a lot is not happening. So in so doing, I tell you, Bruno Guimaraes' release clause is in danger, because teams are saying no. Arsenal have said no, and Man City is saying no to that. Now, the other 2 teams left, one is Barcelona. We all know the problems that Barcelona are into, and there is no way they're going to spend £100 million onto a player like Bruno Guimaraes. That's no way, because they're having huge problems, and the spending power depends on who they sell. And even if they sell a player for €100 million, close to 60% of that amount of money will go into the already violated rules, and then they'll have like 40 to spend. So it shows you that Barcelona is out of the equation. The other team that holds high interest in Bruno Guimaraes is known as PSG. But PSG is really looking so much into replacing what we call Kylian Mbappe having on a hit to leave, meaning that they are so much forward signing minded, and that's why you saw to it that they put themselves in a position of not even holding talks with Newcastle, but they are planning to hold talks with the president of Napoli, because they know they want to get in a player known as, what's his name? Victor Osimhen, you understand? And when you look at their midfield, they believe that Vitinha, Fabio Ruiz, and Emery are really going to be doing a great job, you know? So Newcastle is going to be left in the dark. And if at all they're left in the dark, I doubt whether they'll obviously find a solution, because Guimaraes will be the guy who is going to make them money. And I think they should get out of the 120 million pound, sorry, 120% profit to a team of 100% profit, because if they sell him for 80 million pounds, they get in 40 million pounds of profit. I don't know whether there is a sell-on clause for this player that was included in his transfer from League One to the side of Newcastle. I'll have to make some huge research and see, but Bruno Guimaraes release 100 million pound release clause is in danger, because it is not really being seen as a practical by very many other teams, and they are pulling out of the equation, something that will annoy the Newcastle side, but they have to sell, you know. But Newcastle have gonna have a chance to obviously make a decision onto whether to sell this Bruno Guimaraes guy or not. And if at all they say no, they're gonna have to be provided with another solution to obviously find themselves in a position of really killing off the game and obviously sell this guy to Saudi Arabia. Miguel Almiron's future remains open ahead of the summer transfer window. After Saudi Pro League, sorry about that. After Saudi Pro League move collapsed in January, more clubs are showing interest in the midfielder. Newcastle open to selling Almiron in case of a good proposal due to financial fair play situation. Now, that's why Newcastle are also ready to sell Bruno Guimaraes, because of the financial fair play situation that they are into. And Miguel Almiron is a player that I think he has done what he has to do, and I think if Saudi Pro League teams coming through and really show interest, he should obviously be offloaded. Why do you keep a player of that caliber into your team? I think that's why Newcastle has gone ahead to see themselves really linked to very many other teams. And when you look at Miguel Almiron, he'll obviously come in. They have been linked to very many other players like Olise, Pedro Neto, Gerard Bowen, and very many others. You understand? And I know they can use the money to obviously get in another player. And for the Saudi Pro League, obviously, you know that the owners of Newcastle are really having a huge share, or the owners of Newcastle coming from Saudi Arabia, and they have a very big say when it comes to such transfers. And I don't be surprised if at all they are valuing this guy at like 70 million euros to obviously come out and bail out the side of Newcastle. So we wait and see how that pans out. But I think Miguel Almiron will be wanting to obviously get that money, because I know he might find himself earning like £400,000 a week in Saudi Arabia. And when you look at Miguel Almiron, you know, even age is not onto his side, because he's 30 years of age. And if I told you are 30 and you are Miguel Almiron, you'd be looking at only one thing: fly out to the side of Saudi Arabia and get that money in. I think nothing else is really looking at to see to it that he levels up to the rich South American players. You know, he's not playing to become one of the most respected players at Newcastle. I think it's time he left, and if it's time for him to leave, then it is high time he really did it to the fullest and obviously called it quits into the mix. So that is Miguel Almiron for you. And from Miguel Almiron, and let's obviously go to a little bit of Germany and Italy and talk about Ademola Lookman. Lookman was at Leicester City and went to Italy, you know, and now he's really one of those players that have gone ahead, obviously performed very well in Atlanta. And at the look of things, right, you'll all agree with me that this guy is really great. He played well in the African Cup of Nations. To me, he was the best player for the team of Nigeria, and no doubt about that, you know, and we are here to obviously understand why Bayern are interested in him. And we've been told by Pletical that Bayern have discussed the name of Atalanta winger Ademola Lookman, 26 years of age, in the recent weeks, but so far it has been concrete. But so far it has never been complete. The Nigerian international wants to join a top club this summer and is valued at around 25 to 30 million euros. That is it coming in through from Ademola Lookman. That is Ademola Lookman in there for you. So Ademola Lookman, 26 years of age, left-footed. He can play as a left forward, center forward, and as a right forward. And when you look at Bayern Munich, maybe they want to add in more steel into their attack forward because they believe that Leroy Sen is there, Serge Gnabry is there, and they need another firepower. I saw it when they were playing against Arsenal and Real Madrid that they lacked firepower off the bench, you know. And in the game of Madrid, Serge Gnabry got injured, I think, in like 15, were they 20 minutes? And they took him off. So they would love to see to it that they keep Musiala in his position of the central attack midfield and Ademola into what we call the left or right to compete with Serge Gnabry and Leroy Sen. So we wait and see how that pans out, and I don't think that it's going to be an expensive player, but he has been a player who has gone ahead, obviously put in a very good shift into his beautiful game of football. When you look at the stats of him this season, he went ahead to score for Atlanta 11 goals and 7 assists into the league, right? UEFA Europa League, 11 goals, 5 goals, sorry, 11 games and 5 goals in there for you. And remember, he scored a brace in the final. Coppa Italia, 3 games, 1 goal. So he has been really hugely involved in very many games, and this guy maybe has gonna hit reach a level of really playing for the big teams. So guys, thank you very much for watching 30 minutes about Bruno Guimaraes release clause threat. A welcome in the comment section below, because even Man City has gonna hit to pull out, yet we thought that it was gonna be a solo race for this guy in there for you. So I sign out for now. See you later. Ademola Lookman to the side of Bayern Munich. What do you make about it? And lastly, what are your thoughts about Miguel Almiron? Should Newcastle sell him or they should keep him? Bye bye.